This is on my wall and it's beat up because I've thrown things at it. I've had my breakthroughs with this, but I decided to create this and share it. But this was a quote that I admire and that our team admires from Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill and annotated by Sharon Lecter, of course. But the quote is, be definite in everything you do. Never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind. Hey, everybody. My name's Jon Kovach Jr. I'm the founder and CEO of Champion Circle. And this entire project, this entire movement has come as a result of me making a decision. And the decision was not about myself, the decision was about my desires. And my desire has always been to make a difference and to serve people and to get better results. And the reason why, the like deep down reason for that desire has been the quality and value behind being a quote unquote professional. Being a professional, no matter what field or what space it is, I always looked up to pros as those who completely change the game. They make things just so much better. And in this month, as we're learning about the power of decision, which by the way, I've written an entire book about. This is called The 13 Steps to Riches. This is the seventh volume in this series and on the power of decision, as you see down here. I love this book and I love this book cover because as you can see, decision making is a total reflection of the game of chess. And your life, in many ways, is so altruistic. Like you can really compare your life to a game of chess. And if you're winning, meaning you're making decisions in advance and you're planning things ahead, then you're able to really, really succeed at accelerated rates. But if you're not making decisions in advance and if you're not challenging yourself and you're not thinking ahead or making those plans, then you're probably playing defense. And that defense is causing you to run, move, and move in different directions that you weren't planning on before. And a lot of times, and many of us don't win at life because we are all playing defense. So, do you have a decision or do you have a choice? And my answer to that is you always have a choice. In fact, I want to share my screen for a second. And I just want to show you what I put on my wall. And I know I've over said this like how many times in our experiences here, but I'm going to share my screen and you should be able to see this is on my wall and it's beat up because I've thrown things at it. I've had my breakthroughs with this, but I decided to create this and share it. But this was a quote that I admire and that our team admires from Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill and annotated by Sharon Lecter, of course. But the quote is, be definite in everything you do. Never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind. And yeah, I know it looks kind of cheesy, like the local church put a sign out and said, Sunday church is, at 7 o'clock, right? This is that kind of board. But I've put this here, and I know I've had to get creative with some of the letters, but I put this here because it is something I remind myself every single day. In fact, I remind myself because it's the first thing I see and read when I wake up. I sleep on my right side sometimes, and when I wake up, I'm facing that wall. And here it says, be definite in everything you do. Never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind. And so I use that as an example to share with you how important this is to me because decision making is a muscle. It really is. You can exercise this. And let me guess, let me ask you this. How many of you have a hard time making decisions? You don't have to raise your hand here. You don't have to admit, but admit to yourself. Do you have a hard time making decisions? How long does it take for you to make a decision? And yeah, I know there's a difference between what to choose for lunch on the lunch menu versus where to buy a house or where to make your big move or what career goals you have, et cetera, et cetera. But if you really do think about it, when you know exactly what you want, when you know your desire and it's extremely clear, I'm going to beat this drum until you understand it. When you write, literally physically grab a pen or a pencil and you physically write your goals out every single day and you know exactly what you're doing because it is crystal clear, it is written on paper, you know where you're going and what you're doing, you will then make decisions much faster. Why? Why is that the case? And the answer is because you know where you're going. You know your northern star. You know the path you're on. Clarity has the creation powers of leading you to alignment. And alignment, quote unquote, is the space in which you are on track to achieve your goals. And that is really what it's all about. The events that led to the Declaration of Independence. Let me just remind you, and if you haven't quite picked it up yet, literally grab your copy of Think and Grow Rich. Go to chapter, I believe it's chapter 8, because there's one chapter before the 13 steps begin. And if you go to chapter 8, which is on the seventh principle of the 13 steps, and that is decisions, the power of decision, which is the power of mastering and overcoming procrastination, right? But if you read this chapter, it is a complete dedication to the 56 men who have signed a document knowing full well that by just scribing their names on this parchment, that they could lose their lives. They could miss out on a life of living because they were risking it all. But let me dive just a little bit deeper into my own personal interpretation of the Declaration of Independence. Let's just take that phrase, despite what we already know about it, and despite what you understand about it. Yes, amendments. Yes, laws. Yes, government. Yes, our freedom. Sure. But let's talk about the Declaration and how powerful that is. What is your Declaration of Independence? What is your, for a modern day reference, what is your ride or die? Or what are you truly living for? And if you don't know the answer to that question right this second, it means that your desires are unclear. It means that what you are living for is vague and misunderstood. And I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on you to think, what am I living for? What am I alive for? What is my purpose? Yes, those are mastery questions. And do you have to know every single answer right this bit? No, you don't know. You don't need to know the answers, but you need to know where you're heading, what journey you're on. I had a great mentor back in the day named Bob, and Bob is a master of memory, and his brain and his mindset. He talked about never ever setting goals, which is total contrary to what we do here at Champion Circle. We set goals on a daily, a weekly, a monthly, and a quarterly basis. And only then do we start talking about the big picture and our lifelong dreams and our bucket lists. But he always stretched my mind further because he said, rather than setting goals, set a direction. Oh, that always hit me in the heart hard because as a goal setter, I believe that direction and specifics are always the outline to success. The organized planning and the research and the development that goes into reverse engineering, which William spoke about last month, is all you need to do to plan out your success. Really, you're just writing the script to your success. And I believe that. But one of my mentors, someone I trusted so much, he said, rather than setting goals, set directions. And I always think about that because the direction that the 56 men who signed their lives through their name to the Declaration of Independence made a declaration that their ride or die is independence, it's freedom, it's separation from the state that was keeping them enslaved to a government system that didn't let them have what they wanted. And this has always been so impressive to me. I'm not going to give it away, but please turn to your Think and Grow Rich and read chapter 8 on decision, and you'll learn that your decision making needs and must be correlated with your desires, because then and only then will you realize that you're living for something. There are so many things that we let go, that we let by and have happen. And yes, it's so easy to get into the flow and swing of life, and to become so well adjusted and normal, and when you don't have that vision that you're living for something, then you lose the power of obsession. You lose the vitality of control and decision making. So, what is your declaration of independence? What is your ride or die? What are you living for? Is the first principle I always say, that you always have a choice, but what is your choice? And you'll know by the decisions and how quickly you make those decisions, how clear your life is. My decision in life was one of two directions. And I'm going to share this with you because both were great decisions, but only one led to personal fulfillment. I had won the Olympics on one hand, and on my other hand, I had Olympics forever. What's the difference? One was a one-time event, maybe two if I was lucky. Most Olympians only make it to one Olympics because it's every 4 years, and an athletic career is a very short career. It is not a long career compared to most trades. So I had this dream, this goal, this vision that I was going to be an Olympic athlete. In fact, not just any Olympic athlete. I wanted to be the most athletic person in the world, which is the title deemed to the winner of the decathlon, which is a track and field event, 10 events, 2 days, grueling, but it's the best. And I had the stamina, I had the strength, I had the desire, the will to be the best. And nothing can get in my way other than bodily injury and setbacks, but everything else was my vision. And although I had a lot of setbacks, I lost scholarships, I lost opportunities, I didn't have a traditional college experience running for track and field. I had things that got in my way because of personal choices and decisions. But those personal choices and decisions led to a greater decision. Did I want to go to the Olympics once? Or did I want to have the Olympics forever? What's the difference? Well, I realized after performing fairly well in one of my track and field events, I was tired, I was beat up, I was bruised, and I was beaten down. And although I was excited about the accomplishment I had physically accomplished, I also realized that my brain was more active than my body. And I could have the choice of making it to the Olympics once in my life, or I could make that Olympic standard my life choice forever. That's what it meant to me. So I switched it up. I retired the cleats and I went to town on creating a new desire for myself, and that was setting an Olympic gold standard for myself. And that was to help other people, to use my brain, my sights, my talents, my voice, and to express and teach and share. And that's where I landed on Think and Grow Rich. This became my new direction, my new lifelong Olympics. Decisions must be made with determination, and they must align with your desires. If your desires are unclear, then your decisions take longer to make, or you make wrong decisions and you get off the path of distraction. Sorry, you get off the path of focus because of distraction, and it takes you longer to get back on track. All right. I know that's a harsh realization, but it's true. You have to make declarations in your life. And that's my third point, is decisions must become declarations. You must literally take your own flag and throw it in the ground as a banner of a statement, and your declarations are your choices, and your choices become important. Every single choice is important. The choice in waking up, the choice in rolling out of bed, the choice in how you say your first words every single day, how you smile, how you approach your affirmations, your manifestations, how your attitude resembles your feelings. Okay. Each of those are all decisions that we make, and they become like a muscle. You have to exercise positive decision making. And I'm not talking about always being positive, because negativity serves its purpose too, but you have got to be clear in the life you want to live, and then you have got to live that. And sometimes it takes us years. I know here at Champion Circle, we thrive off 90-day sprint goals because that's what gets us from point A to point B every single month. But even then, sometimes goals like millions of dollars of goals could take years, and that's okay. But as long as your declarations are clear, then your decisions are easier to make. So I ask you to stake claim on your achievements by declaring your choices. At Champion Circle, every single roundtable we conduct, we always ask the question, based on the information that you've received today, what do you feel inspired to take immediate action on? We asked them right then and there, based on all the information. I know we just did a mastermind for 5 or 6 minutes for you, but what do you feel inspired to take action? That feeling is in alignment with you and your decisions, your clarity, your goals, and your declarations. And that is where you make claim on the path and the direction that you're going. My mentor always said, don't set goals, set directions. What direction are you heading in? What is your Declaration of Independence? Let me close by reminding you the quote again, be definite in everything you do. Pause, definiteness. What does that mean? Does it mean to define or does it mean to stake claim? It means you declare what that you're doing. Be definite, declare everything you do. Yes, I'm the weirdo at the grocery store that says, I am here to buy milk. And then someone looks at me and they point in the direction of the dairy and I say, thank you. And you head back and you grab your milk and then you say, I'm also here for bacon. Someone sees you, a bunch of people hide because they don't want to engage with you. And someone will point that way towards the meat section, right? But my declarations are clear. And although they're silly and also they make a scene, isn't it important to be different? Because if you're just normal and you're just like everyone else, will you ever stand out? Will it ever be will it ever be different for you? Will life just be as it is? Or could it be something more? These are the thoughts I have at night, and they keep me up like nightmares because there is more to life than there is just living. Living is great, but there's so much more that can be obtained when you make declarations in your life. So be definite in everything you do. Make those declarations. Never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind. My name is Jon Kovach Jr., and I thank you for this opportunity to share with you my opinions, my findings, my learnings, and this counsel on the power of making decisions. Thank you.